Welcome everyone, Christine here on Serious Gaming with the discussion about Brett Kavanaugh. I know I'm several weeks late to this party, so to speak, since he's been confirmed to the US Supreme Court. I still do, however, think it's a very important story to talk about because of its impact both in the short term and in the long term. I do want to preface this video by saying that I did not want Trump to nominate Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court. I personally think Judge Hardiman would have been a better choice, a more sensible choice. And I also want to say that although I supported Trump winning the 2016 election against Hillary and against the other Republican opponents within the primary, that I do believe the accusations made by Christine Blasey Ford against Kavanaugh, or at the very least I find her accusations fairly credible. I found her accounting credible, and I have no reason to disprove that. When you're talking about Kavanaugh, you're talking of a guy within the swamp, within Washington D.C. You're talking here about the guy who's part of the elite. And if there is anything that holds true about people within elite judicial circles, political circles, people with connections to someone like George Bush, someone that Trump nominated because he was told to by many within the elite, many within the swamp, well, when it comes to that, I cannot help but think, as I do with many politicians or many people within an elite, there are many things that these people do, engage in, or at least know about that are quite frankly disgusting affairs. I don't know for certain that he did what he's accused of doing against Christine Blasey Ford. There is no evidence. There's just a case of he said, she said. Absolutely. And within a system of the rule of law, evidence matters, convincing accounts matter. And the prosecutor that the Republicans brought forward, who questioned Blasey Ford and to an extent questioned Kavanaugh, said that she would not have recommended prosecution over this. But it is one thing to have a legal system where you have to consider the evidence, the credibility of one accuser over another, memory gaps, all that, and you have to consider the rights of the accused and victims in equal measure. You don't want to go too far in one way or another. You don't want the legal system to be basically a lynch squad. You don't want the legal system to be, oh, we absolutely believe one side over another, which is the problem with some people when it comes to these accusations. I understand that this means a lot of people who have committed harm, genuine, legitimate harm, get away with this. I have felt this myself in my own life with people that have harmed me greatly, getting away with things because they wouldn't fit under a legal definition. But if you want a proper legal system, evidence matters, convincing account matters. Having a good, solid legal system matters more than any individual person or any individual case. And the reason behind that is you have to think of the bigger picture. Again, I believe Blasey Ford's account. I also believe that Kavanaugh would not have been prosecuted or found guilty. I believe that when it comes to a case of he said, she said, and when it comes to severe gaps in her memory, which are reasonable given, given a traumatic event, well, given that, well, you can't really do much against them. Now, whether or not he should be on the Supreme Court, however, given that a Supreme Court justice should only be appointed and should only serve as long as he is a good character, well, that's a different affair entirely. I don't think so. And the reason I don't think Kavanaugh should be on the Supreme Court has very little to do with his judicial opinions, his judicial leanings, what kind of opinions he'll make. The issue at hand is that after such an ugly, divisive, disgusting battle for his confirmation that shredded his reputation, ruined his life in multiple ways, does anyone believe that Brett Kavanaugh, whatever their political leanings, regardless of whether or not they're a Democrat or a Republican or unaffiliated, regardless of where one stands on the political spectrum, does anyone believe that after what Kavanaugh endured on a personal level, he will be an independent judge? which is part of their oath of office, by the way. The idea of an independent judiciary is one of the cornerstones of American democracy, regardless of how judges get appointed to the Supreme Court. I would find it difficult to believe that he would just turn a blind eye, that he would be a nonpartisan, independent judge, considering the hell he's been put through. And that is arguably one of the biggest problems with Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court. This is not about believing Blasey or disbelieving her, believing one account over another. But given the situation that did occur, it's very difficult to believe that he will rule in an honest and faithful way. He might recuse himself from highly partisan cases, possibly, but that creates another issue, after all, if he has to recuse himself in order for the court to make a fully nonpartisan and independent decision. That is the problem. Of course, this comes down to a political game. That's what this is. This was one side over another willing to do whatever it took to win, be it confirming Kavanaugh or opposing him. This was the case from the very beginning. Democrats were willing to do anything in their power, including false stories, including leaking Christine Blasey Ford's account against her will. Let's be clear on something very here. Regardless of where you stand on, regardless of your political leanings, what the Democrats did, the Senate Democrats, or hell, maybe just Democrats in general in Washington, or maybe people in the media, what they did was utterly disgusting. They leaked an account from someone who trusted in confidentiality of her representative in Congress, her senator of her state, and they betrayed that trust. There's a reason Christine Blasey Ford did not want this account to be made public, and that reason is she knew what would happen to her, and she decided, and it was her decision to make, that she didn't want to go for a public lynching. Fair enough. But people decided for political points to win a political battle that it didn't matter. And they did it out of, in a sense, desperation, because at the time that these accusations came out, the reason that they were leaked is because Democrats thought that they were losing. Well, they lost anyway, and they lost far more than one might believe. Republicans won by basically saying, we don't accept your tactics, more or less. And they won, in a sense, the high ground. Whatever you might believe on the accusations, wherever you might stand, the moment you have such a disgusting episode, a highly partisan episode with the confirmation hearing, it's the moment a lot of people got angry. And you can see this in Senate race after Senate race, in the polls overall. Republicans came out ahead by quite a bit. Competitive races in the Senate in particular are no longer competitive. In fact, the Republicans stand to win at least 53, 54 seats in total in the Senate. That's where they'll stand according to current polling, and they might even pick up more. They could easily go up to 56 or even more. Yes, they will increase their Senate majority as a result of this. Things are a bit more competitive, far more competitive before this, in part because there's a significant portion of the Republican Party base that is, one, disgusted by Trump or didn't care to participate, but now they realize what the stakes are. Democrats, of course, went into this whole thing thinking that they could score political points on their own. The problem for Democrats is, while this is true to an extent, the people that would care about this, the people that are motivated to vote because of this or accusations of this nature, are already people that were very likely to vote for Democrats in the first place. And by the way, speaking of the polling, a key point to talk about here is that when it comes to the polling, the effect of the 2016 election still remains. You have people that make Trump to be the apocalypse. Let me ask you this. If someone from CNN, because when it comes to polls, if someone from CNN came to you, or Fox, or any major media outlet, if someone from any major media outlet, the mainstream press, so to speak, or New York Times, or CBS, or any of them, right? If someone from those outlets came to you, or an organization working to them came to you and asked you straight up, even if it's online, even if it's anonymous, on whether or not you're voting for the Republicans, given the current political climate where Trump is literally portrayed as Satan, would you say yes in that situation? A lot of people, of course, will not care, right? And they'll say yes, but there are plenty of people who wouldn't want to. I mean, I'm not an American. I don't live in America, because if I did live in America, the last thing you would see me admit to a stranger at the end of the day, or an organization, is that I would be voting for the party of Trump, because there are people who would lynch you quite openly for that, especially in certain areas of the country. I mean, this is what you call the Trump derangement syndrome. Hell, even magazines like Political have run articles on this. It's just pure insanity, and that insanity has reached a fever pitch. I mean, there are shootings, political violence, incivility. A lot of those have suffered at the end of the day. It need not have gone down this road, honestly. I think the biggest missed opportunity of the aftermath of the 2016 election before Trump's inauguration is how certain things unfolded that could have gone in a far better direction on all sides, really. The Democrats and their protest, their tacit support of the recount effort, the harassment of the Electoral College. I personally realized this was going to be a shit show from those days. I had hoped it wouldn't happen, but things have escalated beyond any measure. And the Kavanaugh thing is just something that made a lot of people realize just how bad people were. People that might have been on the fence, people that may have made up a portion of Republican Party voters, or regular Republican Party voters, or maybe even voters on the fence. They realized, yeah, we have to decide. And that's not to say they'll all vote in favor of Republicans, to be very clear, but this whole episode is benefiting Republicans. Not just in the fact that Kavanaugh will make decisions that are favorable for them just purely because of a political bias that he has against the Democrats. You might argue that Supreme Court justices, by the way, do make partisan choices. Yes, they do. At the end of the day, that's what those decisions are. But they have a judicial explanation for it. They have They have a particular leaning from a judicial perspective. Textualism, originalism, living constitution, wherever one might stand. With Kavanaugh, as opposed to virtually every other judge that's on the Supreme Court at the moment, I think it's clear that he's going to make decisions on a political level as opposed to a judicial level, which is a fairly substantial problem. But hey, Republicans won, Democrats lost. That's what can be taken from this battle. But it's just one of many battles that are going to happen. It doesn't end here. It's going to get uglier, as the last week has demonstrated. It's not going to get prettier. It's going to get uglier and uglier. And I don't see good ending to any of this. Actually, people like to portray Trump as the apocalypse. I'm not worried about Trump. I don't lose any bit of sleep over Trump. Well, a bit of a lie, actually. I lost sleep in 2017 over the whole Korea episode, but overall, not really. And the Korea episode wasn't really just about Trump. That guy in North Korea was as much as responsible for it as what Trump was doing. Actually, far more responsible for it anyway. I'm worried about the aftermath. I am worried of excessive partisanship, tribalism. I'm worried about how political parties across the world, the democratic world, have lost credibility, how institutions are losing credibility, and it's just a pit they keep digging for themselves more and more. I mean, the Supreme Court is one of the institutions that the Chief Justice at the moment has fought to maintain the credibility within the eyes of the American people. This is something they're very well aware of. The whole issue I pointed out here with regards to Kavanaugh as an independent judge. This is something that they are all aware of. Why do you think so many Supreme Court justices were, in the aftermath of the confirmation, were talking with the media about the independence of the court? Why do you think Sotomayor and Kagan in particular went before the media to talk about this? I think it's because they understand the stakes are high. They understand it's a very important issue. The moment the judicial branch of the United States loses the credibility on a significant level with the American people is the moment that house of cards that they've stacked up is going to collapse under its own weight. And it's actually worse in a lot of in other countries, and it would have been worse if some of the people that ran against Trump had won. Oh yes, I can think of several people. I won't give names. I think people have followed me for a significant amount of time, for any real amount of time, know where I stand on the 2016 election, and in particular in the Republican primaries. But suffice to say, if this keeps going, things are going to get worse, not better. And the problem is, each side is taking the stance that the other side is its mortal enemy. They must be stopped through any means possible, regardless of whether or not those means are good or acceptable, when in reality many of those means are absolutely disgusting. And therein lies the problem. This was a battle of power, not a battle of confirming the best person to the Supreme Court. Which side could win? Well, it blew up in Democrats' faces, and it's going to have a significant and negative impact on the United States going forward. But hey, Republicans won, so I guess that's a victory, right? For them. It's going to benefit them to keep the Senate, to increase their Senate majority, and might help them keep the House of Representatives under their control. And that's the ugly part. One side wins, the other loses. That's really not the way this should work out, right? Costin here on Serious Gaming, signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more. And if you do like my content, please do consider supporting me via PayPal and Patreon.